Hello everyone, this is Tom from Dirk Witte Music Store in Utrecht, the Netherlands. Today we are taking a look at a very cool and a little bit of an unusual acoustic guitar for us to have in the shop, made by a brand that we are also a little bit new to, Salvador Cortez. And this is not a classical style guitar, or not quite, because this is actually a flamenco acoustic guitar made by that very brand, and a very high-end one at that. This is the Salvador Cortez Sevillana NY. All-solid flamenco acoustic guitar in a real beautiful natural finish. So, a flamenco guitar, what is a flamenco guitar? Is it just a classical guitar, which is a cool name? Not quite, because it is a little bit different from most classical acoustic guitars. It is it's very similar. Obviously, you've got nylon strings, got a very wide neck. You've obviously got very much a classical style of look, but these are just a little bit different when it comes to the construction, so that is more suited for flamenco style music. And then flamenco style music is a very traditional Spanish style of music that is also then actually also meant to be played with a performance, with like a dancer or with dancers, with flamenco dancers obviously, or also with singers. Yeah, that is also for the playing style much more aggressive and dynamic and percussive. So a flamenco acoustic guitar is more so suited for that style of music, so that it is more more aggressive sounding, or that it can handle more of an aggressive playing style and also the percussive nature of it. So yeah, these are then just a little bit different, but still very much classical in style, obviously, as we can definitely tell. But this is a very high one of those, made by Salvador Cortez. We are actually relatively new to that brand. We started dealing their guitars earlier this year, but up until a little while ago, more so kind of like the sub €500 acoustics, or like classical acoustics. But now we have not one but two more high-end flamenco style acoustic guitars of theirs that are kind of like €1,000+. So they also have some very high-end and high-grade specs, and they resulting in a very high quality, fantastic sounding and playing flamenco acoustic guitars. So really cool guitar, looks beautiful if you ask me. So let's dive into the specs. So we've got an all solid wood construction, solid Engelmann spruce top. And then we have, we have then got solid Indian rosewood back and sides. And when it comes to the difference in construction as compared to a normal classical guitar, the body is slightly different because this is slightly smaller and also slightly less deep. I believe that the dimensions of like the width is just slightly smaller, but not really noticeably smaller. So it still just feels like a classical guitar, but the depth is definitely a little bit more shallow, making this, again, just more suited for that style of playing that it is used for. A little bit different. What's also cool is that we have got underneath this top some more traditional style of bracing, which is actually called fan bracing. And the reason that it is called fan bracing is that it kind of resembles a fan if you look at it. So you got like braces going like so, kind of like resembles a old school pre-electric fans, so kind of like just a big leaf kind of thing almost when it was very hot back in those days. So that bracing is then found underneath this top, which then also gives it a unique style of a sound that you do not get from like X bracing or ladder bracing or other styles of bracing that you find on classical acoustics, it just sounds really, really great as we were here so in a little while. Also got some very nice looking binding, also made out of rosewood, also then paired with some black layers of binding and with that natural spruce. Also there on the back we've got a very nice looking back strip and also obviously some very nice looking wood grain of that rosewood. Very cool looking actually, with that dark piece or those dark halves and then lighter halves. Looks really cool. And then a very cool looking back strip that also then extends up to the heel joint over here. We have then also obviously got a very nice looking classical style rosette with some very nice colors, with some red and some green and some black. And what's also cool is that, hopefully you can see that, but you actually also got a pickguard. So over here in the center, like underneath the string, so on both halves, you've actually got a clear pickguard. So it is translucent. It's a little bit difficult to see. If I hold it in the light just right. Hopefully you can see that. Yeah, right there. Yeah. So again, very much for the flamenco style of playing, which they actually do with their nails, like the nails on their fingers. And without the pickguard, you can really like chew into the top, which obviously you do not want, because then you would just end up destroying the top wood. So hence the clear pickguard, which yeah, obviously then just makes it look like a non-pickguard equipped acoustic. So it looks really, really nice, very classy still. Got a rosewood bridge with a bone saddle. Then moving on to the neck, that is made out of African mahogany, which I believe is also called okume. So it's basically just like mahogany, but also just slightly different. I believe a little bit more sustainable, but it just looks, acts, and sounds like mahogany. So yeah, just a really, really nice wood choice for the neck. And then we've got an ebony fingerboard, and this being a flamenco / classical style of a guitar, it is just completely flat, the board, so you've got no radius really going on in this board, or if there is a radius, it is really, really shallow, if you will. So it just plays, yeah, just as if it were completely flat, which is what is to be expected from a classical and a flamenco style of a guitar. When it comes to the profile, that is given it being a this style of a guitar. Obviously the neck is very wide, so the nut width is, I believe, kind of like around 2 inches. So then the profile is also quite wide feeling and quite flat feeling because it is so wide. It's kind of like in between a C and a D shape, I would say. More so D because of the width, but still just, yeah, not all that much of a D, because sometimes classical guitars can get a really noticeable like D shape, like it is just completely flat on the back, but that is not the case with this. So you do got some roundness going on, so it just plays actually really nice for this type of a neck. The nut is then made out of bone. Then you've got your classical style of a headstock with your slotted peg heads and with a very nice looking headstock overlay made out of rosewood. And then we've got these very high quality tuners as well. These are actually some Der Jung DJ306 GX S4E2 classical tuners. Rolls off the tongue. And you've also got these really fancy looking tips made out of ebony. So those are real wood, so that feels very, very premium. So yeah, looks and feels, and also works really, really well. And yeah, that is really all that there is to cover. Apart from that, it also comes with a very premium gig bag, very sturdy, comes like in between a soft case and a hard shell case. So you can just use it as a gig bag, but it is very sturdy, as in that it protects a lot better than most classical style of bags. So yeah, that's all that there is to cover of this very cool and very unique Salvador Cortez acoustic flamenco guitar. Again, kind of new to have in the shop here, especially like flamenco guitars. We have had some classicals, also from like Takamine, but not so much flamenco guitars, so that's also new to me. Here's a spoiler: I do not play flamenco music, so I will not attempt. I will save you the cringe, but I will attempt to like play just some classical style music. Yeah, this is a very high quality guitar at that, so with some very premium specs, built incredibly well, and it also just looks very, very beautiful. So yeah, a really, really cool flamenco acoustic guitar. Let's hear what it sounds like, but first, if you're interested in this brand new Salvador Cortez Sevillana NY all solid flamenco acoustic guitar, be sure to head over to the links in the description for further details. If you enjoyed this demo, be sure to like the video and to subscribe to the channel for more cool weekly demos of cool acoustics or cool electric guitars, bass guitars, even all of that really cool stuff. Also be sure to like us and follow us on our socials, Instagram and Facebook. Links are also in the description. With all that being said, let's see what is brand new Salvador Cortez Sevillana NY flamenco acoustic guitar sounds like. Going to be playing some chords and then also some fingerstyle playing. I do not play flamenco music. So again, I will not attempt that because I would just make a fool of myself. But this is still also just very much well suited for classical style of music. So I will attempt to play something in that realm, which this also very much excels at. So let's then move on to that part, and let's take this very cool brand new flamenco acoustic guitar for a spin.